why doesn't Planetside lean into its potential as a competitive game? It's actually a good question. And
Just
actually,
more competitive and more like not necessarily a competitive game because like it
more
isn't
competitive
necessarily
though.
that.
I think that
Right.
actually it's I think it's actually much more competitive than people give it credit for in a lot of ways. And I think that one of the easier
That's
ways
fair.
to capture that is by looking at the new player experience. The new player experience for most people is either I solo and I get killed by Planetside gods like Aeflic, who's probably 600,000 kills, or maybe if I'm lucky, I find a community who will take me and let me zerg around and then talk shit about people who are Planetside gods. And then there's the whole big grug versus little grug kind of animosity, right? And I
Which I think is
know,
good for the game ultimately.
yeah,
Because
probably.
it creates competition there, right?
Right.
In a way. I have
Yeah.
more players to shoot and kill, and I can rack up high numbers and maybe cap the base, and then you're trying to put me down because I'm a hacker
Yes.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, Lex in chat made a really good point that I want to riff off of, saying the vast majority of player base sees the word competitive as a bad word. I think that there's some truth to this. And I also think that it doesn't have to be this way. So I'm going to compare this to, again, back to Guild Wars. If no one, you don't know anything about Guild Wars, one of the most important thing to know about it is it was designed from the get go to be the anti MMO. And what it means when it says anti MMO is it's all about skipping the shitty parts of an MMO. It's about skipping drama, skipping grinding, skipping all the things that are perceived to be bad or negative or drive people away from MMOs, but give you the payoffs. You get to fight dragons with other players. You get to get loot. You get to progress. Um, that I think over time, and the guy I talked to last week, Mighty Teapot, they actually had a really great segment on that about the toxic casuals of Guild Wars 2, which is exactly the kind of concept that Lex is pointing out. Is that if
Yeah,
you
people don't
make
talk about that. They
well,
don't
it's
talk about it.
dangerous to. It's dangerous to. You get eviscerated if you talk about this topic. Um, but if you create a game that is always trying to find ways to make it more, boy, how do I even put this?
If you have a competitive event like Alpha Wars,
If
you
you
don't have to partake in it. You just play on live. You want to be casual, you go to live.
if you
There should
take
be some avenue to feed
yeah,
competition
it's kind of
because
like
you have those players in any game you have.
if you take all the corners, if you pad all the corners on the playground and prevent any child from falling over by constantly hovering over it in case it should lose balance. If you do all these things to protect the new player from having a bad experience, you also prevent them from having experiences that will point out to them how they can actually improve or what the game is actually supposed to be about. So you make it possible for a new player to jump into a max suit every single time they spawn. Oh, this is a max game. This is my max game. I'm going to play in a mech suit. Rather than saying, no, this is a game about combined arms. It's a game about hardcore infantry dominance in a brutal sandbox that's punctuated by force multipliers like tanks and planes and bastions or
If they
whatever.
were assets, it would work better. Can I touch on two things here real quick?
All right, all right.
Sorry, I know this is
Now do it.
man. I'm trying to keep things in my brain and I know
I
you're probably doing
respect
the
it.
same thing.
I keep a notepad.
Um, yeah, it's smart. I have nothing here, so I guess
Lessons
I use
learned,
my
man.
computer. Um, by protecting the new player experience, I feel like you've made it worse. I'm gonna tell you right now. I guarantee you, and you don't have the data on it. I guarantee you, I have made less people rage quit this game, uninstall, never play again,
Hmm.
than a new player going to a 70-30 overpop fight,
Hmm.
walking out of the spawn room, and dying. What just
Scat
killed me? A
max,
bastion.
blam,
A bastion.
or a bastion.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, an orbital strike. Or I'm gonna tell you right now,
Orbital
it's
strikes
not
are
me.
crazy
It's
right
not.
now.
Yeah, it's not. Dude, 4, 5, 6 at one base. Hmm, I can get away from that. I understand that. I'm gonna tell you right now, Lex is not making people quit the game. Not
Yeah.
just because he's not playing the game very often. It's not Leroy. Those are not. These are not. The big rug theory is not why people are quitting this game. People don't like that. If anything, people are like, "I want to kill this dude. He's a hacker. I want to kill this dude because he's better than me." Or in my mindset, that's my mindset. Could be wrong about this. But I'm telling you, there are way more annoying things than dying to me 6 times at a base.
Yeah. Actually, I talked
And
about
and and
this.
usually I die a lot. Like, I play super aggressive. I'm not super passive, like, trying to get, like, the highest KD or something. I like KPM, okay, whatever.
Shift
But a lot
W,
of the time,
baby.
like, people kill me. Like, a trashy player kills me or gets me with a
Mhm.
shotgun, or gets behind me, or I overextend, like so I create a little bit of, like, good friction or whatever the opposite of that is. Like, like, I die too, so it's not like I'm invincible, like, or anything like that.
Yeah, word.
And I think that's good. Again, I'm trying to even, like, in a way, help, in a way. I try to challenge myself. Um but that's my point, though. It's not me that's making people that the new player experience that's bad is walking out of the spawn room and getting deleted 17 times in a row, doing absolutely nothing. You don't even know where it's
Yeah.
coming from. Oh, it's way up there in that
And the
huge
infantry
ship. How do
gods aren't
I
doing
get that?
that.
Oh, I'm not an outfit leader. I can't pilot the bastion. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Yep.
That's again what we're not talking
Yeah.
about.
And
We're
again,
protecting the new player experience by letting them shit on new players
and
with
actually,
more new players than what the new players on the other side are doing. What?
yeah.
Come on.
And I think that you make a really good
Not
point.
you. Not you. I'm
I
just
get
saying in
it.
general.
The capital U. I get what you're saying. I don't take it personally. I think you're right. I think that there's obviously an opportunity to improve the way that force multipliers interact with infantry and with each other by some kind of restriction that's more so than it is today. But I guess the thing that I find particularly um, disappointing is that the game doesn't lean into that part of its nature. I almost feel like I want Planetside to tell a story of itself. It's more like we're the Dark Souls of MMO shooters. You know, like don't come here if you don't want to die. You know,
Literally
you should get an achievement for your first 1,000 deaths.
Literally Tarkov.
Yeah,
Competitive by nature because it has to be. There's no I mean, okay, maybe you complete a couple quests. Okay, whatever. But
yeah.
it's competitive by nature.
And
That's the
Tarkov
entire of the
knows
game.
what it is,
And you
but
lose everything.
isn't it made by one guy or something crazy?
He has a team. He hired, I think, 100 people. I can't remember. I
Oh,
didn't follow.
okay. Well, I don't
Nikita is
know.
the guy. He may
Yeah,
have started it, and then it got too big, right?
right.
With hackers and all this, they had to bring in more people to combat the popularity of it. And it's popular.
It's
It's competitive.
huge.
It is only competitive, or it's majority, 90%, whatever. I don't know. Competitive, and
It's
it's
high
huge.
stakes. Yeah,
And it has
and
bugs
it's
like Planetside. It has issues like Planetside. But guess what? It's competitive, but it works. Back to
mhm.
my whole point of, like, Twitch streamers that are in a tournament have more views. Like,
Yeah. And the question is like, if you tell a story of a hardcore Planetside, it's a game where it knows how hard it is. Um, I just realized that the Planetside soundtrack has been playing this entire time on the stream.
nice. Maybe
I
that's not
might,
nice. Is it loud?
it's very quiet. I think the streamers,
Okay.
people on stream can let me know. I'm gonna turn that off now. Anyway, it won't be on YouTube. But I fantasize about Planetside 2 Dark Souls, like not like any of Dark Souls mechanics, but in its messaging. Um, I almost quit Planetside 2 after I started it because I was so bad and so frustrated. And I didn't have the best computer when I started. Sapper Soul says it's soothing. I'll send you a link to the soundtrack. You can listen to it on Spotify while we talk.
I was close to quitting too. Like, fighting against Lex and AC was painful, man. But it
Brutal.
also, I got to the edge of quitting. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to get better, and then I got better. I asked questions. I'm like, hey, you're a jerk. Can you help me out at all, though? You've
Yeah.
been dunking on me. You V6 me. Can
Yeah.
you tell me? Are you hacking or you're not
So
hacking?
like,
Okay.
what are the paths? Like, one path is this is hard, but I'm gonna find a way. Like, I'm gonna find something to hang on to that I can improve. I can see the results. Or the other way is this community based thing, and this is one of the arguments that when Sirius and I had our talk, he kind of argued for, is that some people just want to have a fun community experience. They want to be in a war, um, and I certainly recognize that, and it is definitely true. Um, and I think it's hard to speak to the community that feels that way because I think that by necessity, those players are generally not as interested in these having these conversations because they're a little more come and go about the game and a little less attached to it being any one way or the other. Because as long as they can jump in and have their war, Um, but yeah, Planetside could market itself and sell itself as a game that is gonna blow your brains out. And the only way that you're gonna enjoy it is if you're a bad enough dude to gut.